But yes, it's stupid, I know. Let's move on. In fact, a general tendency was to be observed among practitioners of the religious sciences to consider as certain knowledge only that inherited from Muhammad, albeit with nuances conditioned by their theological orientation. So Muhammad, you see, brought special knowledge. Muhammad brought secret knowledge of the religious sciences. When Islam speaks of science, they don't mean the kind of science that we know, like like where semen is produced, like real stuff, and that the sun doesn't rise out of a puddle.
Well,
But
but the spiritual gnosis of that is just real scientists don't understand,
well,
right?
dude, Islam just hurts my brain. So now Let's have a look at this. This is a reference again from the Encyclopedia of Islam. Now they speak here of for Ibn Taymiyyah, blah blah blah. This the science par excellence. Okay, the pinnacle of science is that which derives from the Prophet Muhammad. Now, I don't recall him winning a Nobel Prize myself,
Mm.
but apparently he
He
would.
didn't win a Nobel Peace Prize?
No, no, no. He would win a Nobel Pedophilia Prize if they handed one of those out,
Oh, I bet he would.
but apparently the greatest of science originates with Muhammad. All the rest is either useless or does not deserve to be called science. So apparently, so in other words, only Islam, the Islamic sciences, the religious knowledge. Remember, the religious knowledge in Islam is a science, and
Ah,
right, and the
yeah,
jurist, blah
that's
blah
why
blah.
stepping into the restroom with your left foot prevents the shaitan from in interfering with your
Yes, and then you have
bowel
to
movement.
say an incantation, exactly. And there are numerous prophetic traditions, hadith, on the study of science which concern only religious knowledge. Do you understand? Science in Islam is an understanding of secret science, esoteric, occult science.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
let's continue. The ulama have long been seen as a very distinct group, a regulated and structured body expressing the popular voice, constituting the solid framework of permanent government behind changing dynasties. You would know them
Hmm.
as the deep state,
Right. Yep.
right? Now, let's have a look at this word Ghayb. Now we're talking about hidden knowledge and the Illuminati. Let's have a look. Ghayb, what is hidden? What is inaccessible to the senses and to reason? With rare exceptions, it stands for mystery. In mysticism, it means the reality of the world beyond reason, which gnosis experiences. Ghaiba, occultation, what is hidden. In mysticism, blah, 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 blah. Right? So, Islam has a term for this. What is hidden, what the scholars know that you don't. Right? Let's continue.
Well, you
Now,
know what I was thinking actually really quick. Remember that movie Weird Science from
no.
like the 80s? There's like two nerds get together
Oh, yes.
and this actually reminds me a lot of Islam. They get together and they create like the perfect like robot type of woman. I feel like that Weird Science
Yeah.
is a little bit what happens when you get to Jannah, right? Like you have your
Yeah.
72 perfectly created um, virgins, apparently perpetual virgins with see-through skin, and you can see
Yeah.
their bone marrow,
Yeah. Well,
which is
I should mention that Smiler did say that Allah without a hyphen means the name of God, which is apparently different to Allah as a different term meaning the God. So
okay.
yeah, I mean he speaks Arabic, so he should know. So we can chat about that again.
Yeah.
But yeah, but thanks for that clarification. I appreciate that, Smiler. So okay, let me have a look here. So now moving forward, this is from Al Ghazali. Al Ghazali is the number one scholar of Islam, above even the four Imams, right? Who founded the four schools of jurisprudence. And he's the number one scholar of Islam, just below Muhammad. Okay, so he's the greatest scholar who ever lived besides Muhammad. This is in his book, the Ihya Ulama. No, 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 it's not. It's in the Mishkat al Anwar, the niche for lights. And this book makes makes many direct references to Gnosticism. But let's look at this little line that says here. Okay, so the concepts of Gnosticism, of Amr, right, contains much that is obscure and too difficult for most minds. Okay, and Ghazali then says that the perfect Illuminati, and who's he referring to? Who are the perfect Illuminati in Islam? Well, that would be the Sufis. The perfect Illuminati perceived that Al Mutta, the obeyed one, is not more than the highest other than absolute deity and is related to him as the sun to essential light. So you see, those who stopped short of complete illumination, right? Those who didn't really understand the Gnosticism, who didn't become illuminated, right? Those who were not illuminated, right? They identified Al-Mutta, that's apparently Muhammad, with Allah, right? Blah blah. But this is weird nonsense, very hard to understand. But what he says here is that the Gnostics are the perfect Illuminati, right? And that Muhammad relates to Allah the way the sun relates to essential light, and we'll get into that.